Hi everybody, and thank you for joining me today. I'm Sarah Harris, and today we are going to do day one of strength training for health and well-being. Before we get into that, I wanted to talk a little bit about fitness and why that's important. So fitness to me is our ability to move efficiently in exercise and life, and to be able to do it without injury. So there's 4 pillars to fitness, and strength is actually only one of them. So the first one is, are we able to have mobility through our joints? So we want to make sure that we get some flexibility training in. And the second one is stability. Are you able to stabilize your joints? Those two things, mobility and stability, are definitely required so we can actually have stronger joints and not injure ourselves. Then we can jump into things like strength training. And strength training, like I mentioned on Monday, hugely beneficial to our bodies with all the reasons that I mentioned before. So then from there we can go into power. And I don't usually train a lot of people in power because it's very skilled activity. So it's like box jumps, running, lifting heavy loads in dynamic ways, things like that, which most people I see kind of jump into prematurely. It takes a lot of training to get to those levels unless you're naturally inclined to that. So I just want you to keep that in mind as we move through today. We're going to do a warm up with each segment I do. I'll do a warm up, I'll do a mobility exercise, and then I'll do a stability and strength exercise, and sometimes those two are combined. So grab your mat, grab some water, have a wall because we're going to do a stretch against the wall. And also, please keep in mind, I haven't assessed some of you. So some of you are my clients and you know what not to do and what to do and where you're at with things. But for those of you who aren't, I go through a complete assessment when people come to see me. So I give them the right sort of combination of exercises that they need. So if it hurts, this is the basics of this. If it hurts, just don't do it. If it doesn't feel right, please don't do it. So anyway, let's get going. Here we are at the warm-up. So we're just going to start by a very gentle cross-body exercise. So you're just going to kind of bring your hand or elbow to knee. And as you inhale, you're going to extend. As you exhale, you're going to touch your knee. Cross-body stuff is very calming to the brain. It kind of brings the right and left hemispheres of the brain together. So really great exercise if you're feeling overwhelmed or just need to get up and move. Good, so that's one of them. The next thing we're gonna do is what I call a rib cage shift. So many of us seem to be locked down in here because we don't tend to breathe too well. So we can kind of get that breathing open and get the ribs open by doing this exercise. So you're gonna pretend like you're holding a platter. Hands are kind of in external rotation, which helps open up the pec fascia here. And then we're just gonna slide those ribs over. And with all the stuff that's going on right now, I'm noticing my body isn't responding the way it usually does. We tend to get locked down a little bit more when we're stressed. So just to kind of recognize that as you go through these exercises this week, that you might feel like the ribs don't move very well or that you're tight across the chest. But what you want to think about with this one is that you're kind of shifting from the lower ribs and then all the way into the upper ribs. But what you don't want to do is move your hips. Okay, so we do about 10 of those. Probably did a little bit more there. Now we want to get some rotation happening. So you're just going to bring one hand forward, one hand back. And again, you want to kind of make sure that your hips aren't moving. And if this bothers your neck because you're keeping your arms up, you can just lower them down and just maybe do a twist. Just let the arms go. Or if you can, bring the arms up like a bow and arrow. So either or are pretty good. We just want to get some rotation going in the ribs. And that you're starting to breathe again deeply. Always staying with that breath. So this is the pec stretch. This is one exercise that I can't get enough of these days, and I probably don't do it enough because I do find at this time we're really kind of going in like into that sort of forward flex position. So we want to kind of open things up across these muscles of the pectoral muscles. So what you're going to do is I like to keep it simple. We're just going to do sort of a face plant into the wall, okay? Now, you want to keep your elbow and hand on your right side onto the wall. You're going to slowly slide your left hand down, and you're going to start to rotate your whole body away from the wall. But you want to kind of keep your right shoulder more towards the wall and your right elbow into the wall. You don't want to turn your head too much because we don't want to turn from there. We're actually turning from the whole body. Then you'll start to feel a stretch across your shoulder. You want to kind of drop your right shoulder down the back a little bit so you can kind of feel that whole pec area kind of open. And then we're just going to come into the breathing. So you're going to take a deep breath in, lengthening up the wall, exhale, let it go. Inhale. And when I talk about lengthening up, I mean your spine going up towards the ceiling. So we stay nice and tall, and then feel for the stretch. All your stretches you want to hold for a good 30 seconds, and you can do multiple repetitions if you're really quite tight. Good, and then when we come out of it, you're going to very slowly just turn in towards the wall and let the elbow, let the hand come down. So always slowly disengaging. So now that we've done the right side, let's do the left. So again, you're going to come towards the wall. You get as close as you can with the elbows nice and wide, and then take a deep breath in, and then slide the right hand down the wall. Good, and you can see how I turn my body out as well from the wall. The left elbow is still in towards the wall along with the hand, but you're kind of turning the body out. And then again, coming into your breathing and starting to feel the stretch through the left shoulder. So you want to not just do these mindlessly. I'm always a big proponent of mindful training and mindful eating and mindful everything. Because if you can't feel it, then you're not really sure you're doing the right thing. And also too, what this type of training does is it takes us out of our minds and brings us into our bodies again. So I'm not a big believer of doing exercises in front of the TV. Well, sometimes it's okay, actually, if you're just doing a stretch or two. But for a full program, it's really good to get out into a gym space or an environment that you can just kind of focus on your body. So we're going to hold for another 10 seconds. So again, I'm not counting this, but about good 30 seconds we want to hold that for. Good, and then when you come out of it, you're going to slowly again come towards the wall and then just come off the wall. So another exercise I like to do is cat-cow. This is a great exercise just to teach us how to mobilize the spine. So, and also know where our hips and rib cage are. So I'm going to get you, if you've ever done yoga, you know this pose. You're going to exhale, tuck under, and then inhale, lift up. Exhale, and then inhale. One thing I want to make sure is if you're over the age of 70, don't go into, you can go into flexion with your neck, but keep your head in extension, but not go into hyperextension. Really important that we don't hyperextend that spine when we're older, just because some of us are more decompressed in those areas at that point in our life. Okay, so that is cat-cow. So here we are, and we're going to start with some breathing exercises. Okay, so I'm going to get you to come down onto your side or onto your back and just come into a comfortable position. So if you need something for your head, because you shouldn't be back in a flexed position, you should have your neck nice and open so we can allow that sort of vagus nerve, which is our rest and digest nerve, to relax and open. And it also just feels better for the neck. So what I'm going to get you to do is now we're going to place the hands on the lower abdomen. We're going to take 3 breaths into your pelvic floor. So this is a part of the body we start to open up, the pelvic floor. And if you can't feel that, and many people are stuck here, don't worry. It just takes time to practice so that you can come into this part of the body. So I just want you to slowly breathe and find your own pace. So you can do a counted breath if you like, where you inhale for 3, and then you exhale for 3. But just find a slower breath. And being on the floor allows us to kind of slow things down because we get really grounded usually when we're on the floor. And then you want to start to feel like you're wrapping your awareness with your breath all the way around the pelvis. Good. Then you're going to bring your hands onto your waist. You can start with your belly and just feel like you're breathing down into the pelvis now, but also into the waist area. So usually we don't have too many issues in this area. Breathing around the back of the body as well. So again, that 3-dimensional kind of breath. So remember, all these deep breaths not only calm the nervous system, but they actually can help our internal core muscles work better and suspend our body so we're not compressed. In through the nose, either out through the mouth or out through the nose. Lastly, we're going to bring our hands right around the bra strap area for women, and for men you can think of a heart rate monitor. And this is another area we tend to get caught in. So just to try and really see what areas of your rib cage you might not feel like you're breathing into. And that's where you're going to spend most of your time when you do come into your breathing exercises. So I suggest now you do all 3 sections: abdomen, belly, rib cage. One long breath, and you soften through those neck and shoulders. Hi guys, this is Aldoa for T6, T7. It's one of my favorite Aldoas to do. Basically Aldoa, without getting into the science, you can look it up online. It just creates space for the spine and keeps it there. So when we're talking about this area, it's usually the area where we kind of round from when we're sitting on the couch a lot, or sitting, or just even that fear mechanism that I mentioned before. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna flex your feet. You're gonna take your arms out to the side, and I want you to start to gently push your knees down. You'll start to feel like you're gonna get taller. Now, as you do that, I want you to feel the back of the neck, not going into extension, not going into too much flexion, just the back of the neck getting longer. You're gonna come into your breathing, and as you keep your hands out to the side, you're gonna feel those pec muscles open up. And now inhale. Bring your hands up over your head, and you'll see how I just gently touch my hands together at the top of my head. Now breathe deeply. And each inhale, as you push the knees down, I want you to feel like you're bringing the hands up and that you're breathing deeply. So inhale, lift up. Exhale, now start to pull the hands back. Now, if it bothers your neck, again, stop. But you can always kind of soften the elbows too, and just think about lifting from the sides of your body. That's the most important thing, not from your neck, but from the sides of your body. Take 4 more deep breaths. Keep the tension in the feet, keep the tension in the knees, pushing down. Two more. Last one. And then slowly, like we just do with any of the stretches, coming out of it very slowly. Hi everybody, this is now the horse stance exercise. So it's a very intricate exercise, so I usually like having my hands on people when they're doing it so they can feel each aspect. However, for this general video, I'm just gonna give the sort of bare bones to this exercise and not make it too complicated. Now, it's an exercise for the core, but it's also one for your upper body. It's a fantastic exercise to stabilize your spine and build upper body strength. So I usually start with this one with people, and then I build up into presses and push-ups and stuff like that, just so they can learn how to activate their upper body in a stable position. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna think about pushing your hands apart and kind of lengthening your neck towards the end of the room. I don't want you to feel like you're up around your shoulders. You actually want to feel like you're holding from more of the sides of your body. Now you can start to feel the tension there when you do that in the hands and arms too. Now we're going to take a deep breath in. You're going to let your belly fall out, and then exhale. You want to gently draw the belly button in as you lengthen the head forward, but you do not want to tuck your bum under or have it flared out too much. We want to have a nice neutral spine. So as you're keeping that belly in, you're still breathing and you're not changing the spinal curvature. It's a gentle pull of the abdomen. You're going to take your left leg back, your right arm out to the side, and you can either bring it out to the side, forward, but I usually get people to do it to the side because they can bother their neck or throw their rib cage out of position by reaching forward. So find what works for you, and right now I'm going to do it forward because I'm going to hit the wall otherwise. And then you're going to breathe. Now you can hold this for anywhere from 10 seconds to 30 seconds. You want to make sure you're using that left glute to hold your leg up, not just that it's hanging out. You want to really engage it. Good. Let's take 2 more breaths. Pushing the hand down and out, away, but it's not moving, it's just that direction. And then you can slowly come back down. Nothing moved in the spine, right? Everything stayed stable. So let's take another deep breath in. Exhale, draw the belly in and feel like the back of the body goes towards the length of the room. Keeping the core in, let's take the right leg back, left arm out. And now again, you can take it back to the side or forward. See what feels right for you. Now remember that right hand, you want to push down and you want to push it away from the body. Keep drawing the belly button in. If you break down and form, not to worry, you can always just come out of it. So don't push yourself past what you're able to do. Your body will grow with each repetition of it. Now let's take 2 more breaths. And then you can slowly bring the hand down, bring the leg down. Anywhere from 10 seconds to 30 seconds with this one. So the next exercise is Cobra. Cobra is great for postural, building the postural muscles. We call it the posterior chain muscles. But basically they're the ones that kind of pull us back. So if we're freaked out or stressed out, we tend to do this. If we're sitting at desk for long periods of time, if we're in the couch for long periods of time, we end up like this. This is a position that does not make us feel very good. So we want to open it up. So what you're going to do is you're going to come down flat on the floor. Okay, the first thing I like to do with this exercise is I like to lengthen my body forward. So I kind of keep my hands on the floor. And then I try and pull my hands back as I feel my head and neck reach forward. And I can actually feel my spine getting longer here. So you don't want to go into compression where we're lifting off. It's more of a lengthening. Now, as you do that, then you're going to take the arms back. And I always think I'm like an airplane. So they're not tucked in to the sides. They're actually out wider because we never want to pinch the shoulder blades together. You just want to feel the back of your body kind of opening, and also the back of the shoulders being worked. So the other thing I want you to avoid, especially if you're over the age of 70, is extension into this position. So make sure that you're kind of looking down at the floor, you're breathing, and you're getting taller as you externally rotate the hands to open up the shoulder. And you can feel all those wonderful muscles in the back of your body pulling your shoulders back and strengthening your back muscles. So we should be able to hold this for anywhere from 10 seconds to 3 minutes. 3 minutes is the most optimal. So I try and build people up to get more postural strength. So we want to get up to about 3 minutes to be able to hold this. And we're going to hold for a couple more breaths. Really remember, don't let those hands drop. Keep the shoulders in external rotation. And then you're going to slowly come back down. You're going to make a pillow with your head or with your hands, and then just let it rest. So one practice I like to focus on is that of gratitude, because I find that when we are focused on something we're grateful for, we can't feel fear or anxiety or any of the negative emotions as much. And I really don't think you can actually be fully grateful and feel any of those emotions at the same time. So I'd like to just do a minute right now of just shutting your eyes, and you can do this in a seated position, you can do it lying down. But just kind of thinking about your breathing right now and just settling into your breath. And then I just want you to bring someone that you feel grateful for in your life. Someone that you really love and treasure and brings a lot of joy or is very, very helpful. Could be a mentor, it could be a family member, it could be a boyfriend or girlfriend, a friend. And I just want you to settle into whatever your mind takes you on this person and what it brings or what they bring to your life. And we're just going to spend the next 20 seconds thinking about that person. And then just as you come back now, opening up the eyes and just kind of see if, it was very short practice, but just see if that kind of shifted you in any way.